Welcome to the Agrawal classes. I am Ajit Agrawal. Today in the thermodynamics class, we will solve some of the numericals related with the properties of pure substance by using the steam table.
Question number 8. Steam at 8 bar 250 degrees centigrade and flowing at the rate of 1 kg per second passes into a pipe carrying wet steam at 8 megapascal and 0.95 dry. After adiabatic mixing, the flow rate is 2.3 kg per second. Determine the condition of steam after mixing. The mixture is now expanded in a frictionless nozzle isentropically to a pressure of 4 megapascal 4 bar. Determine the velocity of steam leaving the nozzle. Neglect the velocity of steam in the pipeline.
In the question number 8, it is given that the two streams of steam are mixing together and then passing through the nozzle. We have to find out the dryness fraction after the nozzle and the quality of the steam before the nozzle and the velocity of the steam leaving the nozzle. So the data given is in the first stream is at 0.8 megapascal, temperature is 250 degrees centigrade and mass flow rate is 1 kg per second. And in the stream 2 it is given the pressure is 0.8 megapascal, the dryness fraction is 0.95 and the flow which is passing through this nozzle is 2.3 kg per second. Okay, so at section 1, if we see at 8 bar the saturation temperature is 170.47 from the steam table. Second number steam table we can see at 8 bar the temperature is 170.47. that means the given steam is superheated. So to find out the data we will go into a superheated steam table, that is table number 3, and from that at 8 bar and 250 degrees centigrade we will note down the volume, enthalpy and entropy. Okay, and at section 2 the pressure is given as 0.8 megapascal and dryness fraction is 0.95. so that means the steam is wet. So we will get the properties of this steam from the table number 2. So in the table number 2 we will go for 8 bar and we will note down all the data. At 8 bar the saturation temperature is 170.47, volume is 0.00111, Vg of that is the dry saturated steam volume, specific volume 0.239, HF 721.3, HFG, HG, SF, SFG and SG. Now the enthalpy per kg or the specific enthalpy of the steam at point 2 we can calculate as HF plus X2 HFG. HF and HFG we know and X2 is given as 0.95. So this is the enthalpy, specific enthalpy entering through section 2. And also we will note down the data at point 4. The point 4 it is given as 0.4 megapascal, that is 4 bar. So we will note down the data from the steam table number 2. The saturation temperature is 143.68, specific volume of the liquid, specific volume of the gas, enthalpy HF, HFG, HG, entropy SF, SFG and SG. Now the mass flow rate at point 3 is given as 2.3 and that will be equals to mass flow rate at point 1 and plus point 2. So m1 dot plus m2 dot equals to m3 dot and it is given as 2.3 and m1 is given as 1. So m2 is equals to 1.3 kg per second. Now the enthalpy at section 3 will be the total enthalpy entering at section 1 plus at section 2. Okay, so that is the energy balance. So H1 the total enthalpy entering per second will be equals to m dot 1 into h1. M dot 1 is 1 and h1 from the steam table we had taken down as 2950.1, so it is 2950.1. h2 will be equals to m2 1.3 kg per second multiplied by h2 that we had calculated as 2665.475. So that gives me 3465.118. So the total enthalpy at 0.3 per second is 2950 plus 3465, and that will be equals to m3 dot into h3. So h3 we can calculate by dividing it by the value 2.3, that is m3. So we get h3 equals to 2789.225 kilojoules per kg. So that is the enthalpy at 0.3. Now if we will compare the enthalpy 2789 with the dry saturated steam at 8 bar, the dry saturated steam is having an enthalpy of 2767.8. So this one is more. That means the steam at section 3 will be a superheated steam. So again we will go for the steam table and we will try to find out where this enthalpy exists. So if we will go into the steam table number 3 for 8 bar, we can see the saturated steam is having an enthalpy of 2767.8, and when the temperature of the steam is 200, the enthalpy is 2839.3. So our enthalpy lies between these two. That means our temperature will lie between 170.47 and 200. So we will note down the enthalpy of the dry saturated steam and the enthalpy and entropy at 200 degree centigrade from this steam table. So this we had noted down here, the volume, enthalpy and entropy at saturation temperature and at 200 degree centigrade. Now we are interested to find out what is the temperature when the enthalpy is 2789. So what is the difference between 2789 and this, the initial enthalpy at 170.47, that is 2789 minus 2767, that is 21.925. So we have to find out the change in temperature, change in entropy when the enthalpy is changing by 21.925. So here the temperature change will be equals to 29.53 is changing when the enthalpy is changing by 71.5. So for one enthalpy change, the temperature change will be 29.53 divided by 71.5 multiplied by the change in enthalpy required is 21.925. So multiplying by it, so the change in temperature from 170 will be 9.055. So T3, the temperature of the superheated steam at section 3.3 will be equals to 170.47 plus 9.055, it is 179.525. Similarly, the entropy change will be equals is given as 0.229 when the enthalpy change is 71.5. So for 1 kilojoule of enthalpy change, the entropy change will be 0.229 divided by 71.5, and for 21.925 enthalpy change will be entropy change will be 0.0702. So the entropy at section 3.3 will be equals to the 6.658, that is entropy at 170.47 plus the entropy change because of this 9 degree rise is 6.7289. So that is the entropy at section 3. Now when it is passing through the nozzle isentropically and adiabatically, the S3 will be equals to S4, and from the steam table we had noted down for 0.4 megapascal, that is 4 bar, the enthalpy of the dry steam is 6.8934, but in our case the entropy at point 3 is 6.7289. That means the steam at section 4 will be wet. So we can write the entropy at section 4 as SF4 plus X4 into SFG4. Okay. So substituting the values from the steam table for 0.4 megapascal or 4 bar, and that will be equals to S3 6.7289. So the value of X4 is coming out to be 0.9678. So we got the dryness fraction after the nozzle. Now to find out the enthalpy after the nozzle, H4 will be equals to HF4 plus X4 HFG4, that is at 0.4 megapascal. HF4 we are noted down from the steam table 605, HFG4 also we are noted down from the steam table, and dryness fraction we know. So H4 is equals to 2669.14. From the steady flow energy equation, H3 is equals to H4 plus C4 square by 2. So C4 square will be equals to square root of 2 into H3 minus H4. Substituting the values, C4 comes out to be 490.06 meter per second. Here you have to remember that this H3 and H4 we had written down in kilojoules, so we are writing it in joules per kg, so we had multiplied it by 10 to the power 3. So that way we solve the question that the exit velocity of the steam from the nozzle is 490.06 meter per second. If you see the same process on the HS diagram, then we can draw like this. Here we are having a saturated liquid line, then here we are having a saturated vapor line where the dryness fraction is 1, and this is the say 0.8 megapascal line, and this is the 0.1. This one point we can locate. We locate the 0.8 bar line, and the temperature is given 250, and we will locate the temperature 250 line on the HS diagram, that is the Mollier chart. Wherever they will intersect, this is the 0.1. Now the 0.2, we will locate the dryness fraction as x equals to 0.95. It is 1, then 0.95, then 0.90, like that is given. So we will locate the 9095 dryness fraction and 0.8 megapascal line, that is 8 bar line. Wherever they will intersect, this is the 0.2. Okay. Now for 0.3, the pressure is 8 megapascal, so this is the same pressure line, and the temperature we had calculated as 179.525. so we have to locate this line. So we will get this intersection point of constant temperature line and constant pressure line. So we will locate the 0.3. Now to locate the 0.4, what we will do, we will draw a vertical line from 3. Okay, and because this process is passing through the nozzle and it is isentropic and adiabatic, so entropy will remain constant, and next line will locate as 0.4 megapascal line, that is 4 bar line. Wherever they will intersect, this is the 0.4. Once we know the 0.4, we will check out the dryness fraction from the Mollier chart. So it is coming out to be 0.9678. So this is 0.4. This way we can draw on the HS. Similarly, if you wish to draw it on the TS diagram, then this is the temperature 250 degree centigrade line, and the pressure we will locate as 8 megapascal. So this 0.1 will be located. Then 0.2, it is the constant temperature line, and the dryness fraction we know that 0.95. so here 0.95, and temperature, the saturation temperature we know from the steam table that we will draw. So we will come to know the 0.2, and for the 0.3 the temperature we had calculated as 179.525, so that we can draw on this, and the pressure line. So we will locate the 0.3. From 0.3 we will draw a vertical line and the temperature line equals to the corresponding pressure saturation temperature for 0.4 megapascal. So 0.4 will be located, and from 0.4 once it is located, we can find out the dryness fraction. So that way we can draw on the HS and TS.
Question number 9. Steam flows in a pipeline at 1.5 megapascal after expanding to 0.1 megapascal in a throttling calorimeter. The temperature is found to be 120 degrees centigrade. Find the quality of steam in the pipeline. What is the maximum moisture at 1.5 megapascal that can be determined with this setup if at least 5 degrees centigrade of superheat is required after throttling for accurate readings?
In the question number 9, it is given that the steam is at 1.5 megapascal passing through a pipe, and a part of the steam is taken into a throttling calorimeter where it is expanded to 0.1 megapascal and found the temperature to be 120 degrees centigrade. So we had to find out the quality of the steam in the pipeline, and then we had to find out what is the maximum moisture which the pipeline will have, and we can measure the dryness fraction by this throttling calorimeter, assuming that when we are expanding it into the throttling calorimeter, we are getting minimum 5 degree of superheat. Okay, so we have to find out that dryness fraction. So in this question, it is given the steam is at 0.1, that 0.1 we know as 1.5 megapascal only, and we had to find out the dryness fraction x1 when it is expanded throttled into the throttling calorimeter. So it reaches to 0.2, and where the pressure is given as 0.1 megapascal and the temperature is 120 degrees centigrade. So from this we had to calculate the value of x1. Then it is given that the moisture content, if it is increasing, so what is the maximum moisture content we can measure by this throttling calorimeter when the degree after expanding in the throttling calorimeter, there should be at least 5 degree of superheat. Okay, so then we have to calculate the value of x4. So let us first find out the data from the steam table at 1.5 megapascal, that is 15 bar. We will write down the data of the steam T saturation temperature. This is from the steam table number 2, because the steam is wet, then only we are passing it through the throttling calorimeter to find out the dryness fraction. So T set is 198.3, Vf is this, Vg is this, Hf, Hfg, Hg, Sf, Sfg and Sg. So this data we have taken down from the steam table number 2, and for 0.1 megapascal the temperature is given as 120. So if you see in the steam table number 2, then we know that at 1 bar the saturation temperature is 99.75. that means this steam is superheated. So we will go into an steam table number 3, and we will see at 1 bar 120 degrees centigrade. So 120 degrees centigrade is not there, there is 100 degrees centigrade and 150 degrees centigrade data is there. So we will note down that at 100 degrees centigrade and 1 bar the volume is 1.696, enthalpy is this, entropy is this, and at 150 degrees centigrade volume is this one, enthalpy is this and entropy is this. Okay, so now we will try to find out the enthalpy at 120 degree. So what is the temperature we need is delta T from 100, it will be up to 20 degree only. So it is 100 minus 120 minus 100, so it is 20 degree centigrade rise, what is the change in enthalpy? At 100 it is this, at 150 it is this. So if 20 degree is changing, then what will be the change in enthalpy? So enthalpy at 120 degree centigrade will be equals to enthalpy at 100 degree centigrade plus the enthalpy change for 20 degree centigrade. It will be 2776.4 minus 2676.2, that is for 50 degree. So divided it by 50, so it becomes for 1 degree, multiplied it by 20 for 20 degree rise. So it is 2716.16 kilojoules per kg. Okay, so the enthalpy at 120 we got, it is 2716.16, and as we know that the throttling process is one where the enthalpy remains constant, that means H1 will be equals to H2. H2 we know, and H1 we can calculate as HF1 plus X1 HFG1. So HF1, here the pressure is 1.5, so we will take this HF 844.8 plus HFG 1945.4 multiplied by X1 equals to 2716.16, that is enthalpy at 0.2. So X1 we can calculate as 0.9619. Now when the degree of superheat, that is the first part, the dryness fraction of the steam flowing through the pipeline is 0.9619. okay, now it is required, what is the maximum moisture? Here the moisture is only 3.81%. now what is the maximum moisture? That means the quality of the steam we are going to reduce, and even then the degree of superheat here should be at least 5 degrees. So what will be the temperature after the throttling? When the degree of superheat 5 degree, the T3, this point, the temperature will be T saturation plus 5 degree, that is saturation temperature plus degree of superheat. So the temperature will be 104.75. now at 104.75 degree, what will be the enthalpy? So similarly we can find out here, the enthalpy at 0.3 will be equals to the dry saturated steam enthalpy, that is at this point, that is 2676.2, that is at 100 degree, plus the change in enthalpy for this 5 degree rise. So it is 2776.4 minus 2676.2, this minus this, upon 50 degree temperature, and the rise is of 4.75 from 100, because we know it already at 100, so another 4.75. so here we are multiplying it by 4.75. so the enthalpy at 0.3 will be 2685.538. now we can say that let the 0.4 is the steam flowing through the pipeline. So enthalpy at H4 will be equals to enthalpy at H3, so that is H3 equals to H4. H3 we know 2685, and H4 we can write as HF plus X4 HFG4. HF4 and HFG4 are the same at 1.5 megapascal, that is this 2. So substituting the value, X4 equals to 0.9462. that means if the steam quality is 0.9462 or more, then the degree of superheat will be more than 5 degree, 5 or more than 5 degree. So we can use the throttling calorimeter. If the dryness fraction is less than this, then the degree of superheat, as we have taken here 5 degree, may be less than 5 degree, or it may be such that it may not become superheated at all. So in that case the throttling calorimeter cannot be used. So we can write the maximum moisture that can be determined with this setup is only 5.38%, that is 100 minus 94.62.
Question number 10. The following data were obtained with a separating and throttling calorimeter. Pressure in pipeline 1.5 megapascal, condition after throttling 0.1 megapascal, 110 degree centigrade. During 5 minutes, moisture collected in the separator is 0.150 liter at 70 degree centigrade. Steam condensed after throttling during 5 minutes is 3.24 kg. Find the quality of steam in the pipeline.
In the question number 10, the data is given for a separating and throttling calorimeter that the steam is flowing through the pipeline at 1.5 megapascal, and first it is passed through the separating calorimeter where some mass of the moisture is collected, and that mass is given as 0.150 liter at 70 degree centigrade in the separating calorimeter in 5 minutes. Then the rest of the steam is passed through this throttle wall to a throttling calorimeter, and where the temperature is read as 110 degree centigrade and the pressure is read as 1 bar. Okay, so it is given, and the moisture which is the steam which is passed through this throttling calorimeter is condensed in 5 minutes. That part is equals to M2, and that is equals to 3.24 kg. We have to find out the dryness fraction steam in the pipe. So at section, we are drawing section 1.1, section 2.2 and section 3.3. Section 1.1 is the main steam entering, and in section 2.2 the part of the moisture is separated and the remaining steam or the mixture of the steam is passing through this throttling calorimeter. So at 2 the pressure is higher, and after the throttling the pressure is reduced, and this pressure is given as 0.1 megapascal and the temperature is 110 degrees centigrade. So at section 3.3, if we will consider, the pressure is 1 bar, and corresponding to this, from the steam table we can see the saturation temperature is 99.75 degrees centigrade and the temperature given is 110 degrees centigrade. That means the steam is superheated. So we will go into the steam table number 3 and we will try to find out the volume, enthalpy and entropy at 110 degrees centigrade. But in the steam table the data is given for 100 degree and 150 degree. So we will note down the data, the volume, enthalpy and entropy for 100 degree and for 150 degree. Now we will try to calculate the enthalpy when the temperature is 110 degree, that is 10 degree rise. So the enthalpy is changing from 2676.2 to 277.6.4 when the temperature is changing by 50 degrees. So this is the change in enthalpy divided by 50, the change in enthalpy per degree rise multiplied by 10 degrees. So for 10 degree rise, this is the change in enthalpy plus the enthalpy at 100 degree centigrade. So this gives me the enthalpy at 110 degree centigrade as 2696.08 are in the section 3.3. Now at section 2.2, if we will consider, the pressure is given as 1.5 megapascal and say x2 is the dryness fraction which is going into the throttle wall. Okay, so from the steam table number 2, we know that the steam is wet in this condition, then only we are passing it to the throttle wall and going into the throttling calorimeter. So from the steam table, if you see, at 15 bar T saturation temperature is 198.3, volume of the fluid is 0.0015115 and Vg equals to 0.1315, HF equals to 844.8, HFG equals to 1945.4 and Hg equals to 2790.2. This all data we have taken from the steam table number 2. Now the value of H2 we can calculate as HF2 plus X2 HFG2. Okay, HF2 we know, HFG2 we know, and X2 we want to calculate, and that enthalpy H2 will be equals to H3 because it is passing through the throttling wall. The throttling process is one where the enthalpy remains constant. So H2 equals to H3. Substituting the values, value of X2 is coming out to be 0.9516. Okay, if M1 is the mass collected in the separating calorimeter, this is, and M2 is the steam condensate after the throttling, this is M2, then we can say the dryness fraction X1, that is the passing through this steam pipe, will be equals to X2 into M2, the mass of the dry steam, divided by M1 plus M2, the total mass. But M1 we don't know. M1, instead of M1, it is given as 0.150 liter at 70 degrees centigrade. So to find out the M1, what we will do, we will write down the volume, total volume divided by the specific volume. So the total volume is given as 0.150, that is 150 into 10 to the power minus 6 meter cube, divided by specific volume from the steam table number 1 at 70 degrees centigrade, Vf at 70 degrees centigrade, Vf we will see, and it is coming out to be 0.001023 meter cube per kg. So M1 equals to Q upon specific volume at 70 degree of water. Okay, so that is coming out to be 0.1466 kg. So X1 will be equals to X2, this we had calculated as 0.9516, and into mass of the steam condensate, because this is the steam which is coming here and that is condensing, so it is 3.24 divided by 0.1466 plus 3.24 total. So this gives me X1 equals to 0.910. So the quality of the steam in the steam main pipeline is 91%.
Question number 11. A steam boiler initially contains 5 meter cube of steam and 5 meter cube of water at 1 megapascal. Steam is taken out at constant pressure until 4 meter cube of water is left. What is the heat transferred during the process?
In the question number 11, it is given that the boiler initially contains 5 meter cube of steam and 5 meter cube of water at 1 megapascal, and after some time the water left is 4 meter cube in the boiler at the same pressure. We have to find out the heat transfer during this process, the initial process and the final process. When some steam is taken out, the water is reduced to 4 meter cube. We have to find out the net heat transfer during the process. So from the steam table number 2, because here the water and steam mixture is there together, they are present, that means it will be a saturated steam maximum. Okay, it cannot be a superheated at all unless it is separated from the water. So from the steam table number 2 at 10 bar, that is 1 megapascal, we note down the readings. T saturation 179.97, Vf 0.00112, Vg equals to 0.1933, Hf, Hfg, Hg, SF, SFG and SG. This data we have taken down from the steam table number 2. Now first we will calculate the mass of water initially and mass of steam, then the total mass initially, and then for the finally what we have. So mass of fluid, that is water, initially will be equals to the total volume of the water divided by the specific volume. The total volume of the water is given as 5 meter cube and the specific volume of the water is given as 0.00112 meter cube per kg. So it comes out to be 4464.285 kg. Similarly, the mass of the steam initially will be equals to mg1 equals to total volume of the steam divided by the specific volume of the steam. Total volume of the steam initially is given as 5 meter cube divided by specific volume is given as 0.1933 meter cube per kg. So this gives me 25.866 kg of steam initially. So the total mass initially will be mass of the liquid plus mass of the gas, that is sum of these two is equals to 4490.151 kg. Similarly, in the final position, the mass of the water or the fluid will be equals to the total volume of the fluid water, that is 4 meter cube divided by specific volume 00112. It comes out to be 3571 kg. Then the final steam mass of the steam will be equals to mg2 equal to 6. Now the total volume initial of the boiler is 10, so the final volume will also remain 10. In that 4 meter cube is water, so the remaining is steam. So 6 meter cube of the steam divided by the specific volume, that gives me the 31.039 kg of the steam at the final stage. The total mass finally left is mf2 plus mg2, that is equals to the sum of these two is equals to 3602.467 kg. So initially we know this much was the mass and finally we know that this much was the mass. So in the process, the mass taken out is equals to initial mass minus final mass, that is equals to 887.684 kg. So this much mass is taken out. We have to assume that the quality of the steam going out from the boiler during the process is, say we are assuming it as a dry steam, nothing is given, so maximum what we can assume is x equals to 1. So we will apply the energy balance, that how much the internal energy initially the boiler have plus whatever the energy we had supplied, that will be equals to the internal energy left in the boiler plus whatever the energy is going out during the process. So U1, the total internal energy in the initial stage, plus Q supplied during the process equals to total internal energy at the end of the process plus, say Ms is the mass of steam supplied taken out multiplied by the enthalpy per kg by going with the steam. So Hs is the enthalpy of the steam taken out per kg and Ms is the mass taken out. Ms we know as 887.684 and Hs we know because we are assuming that it is a dry steam, so the enthalpy will be equals to 2776.5 kilojoules. So from this equation we can write Q equals to U2 minus U1 plus m dot Ms into Hs. Now we have to calculate U2 and U1. We know that H equals to U plus PV or U equals to H minus PV. So UF1 will be equals to HF1 minus P1 into VF1. We know the value of HF1 763 minus pressure is given as 10 bar, that is 10 into 10 to the power 2 kilopascal. In here it is kilo, so I am first time I am trying it in writing in kilopascal multiplied by the specific volume, so P into Vf. So this gives me the internal energy of the water at initial position. UG1 that is the internal energy of the dry saturated steam, it will be equals to Hg1 minus P1 Vg1. So Hg1 is 2776.5 minus P is 10 into 10 to the power 2 kilopascal multiplied by specific volume of the steam, dry steam 0.1933. So Ug1 is 2583.2. Now the total internal energy and the initial position will be mass of fluid, that is liquid, plus internal energy of the liquid plus mass of steam multiplied by internal energy of the steam. So this we had calculated 4464 mass of the water initially multiplied by 761 plus mass of the steam 25.866 multiplied by internal energy of the steam. So this is the U1. Similarly, U2 will be equals to MF2 into UF1 plus Mg2 into Ug1. UF1 will be equals to UF2 and Ug1 will be equals to Ug2 because the pressure and temperature are the same. So the properties will remain same, just mass is changing. So it is 3571. This also we had calculated final position of the water, final mass of the water into internal energy of the water per kg plus final mass of the steam multiplied by internal energy of the dry steam. So this gives me this one. Substituting this value in this equation, U2 minus U1 plus MS 87.684 multiplied by HS. This we have taken as steam is dry, so it is 2776.5. So the Q coming out to be 1797.767.63 kilojoules or 1797.767 megajoules. So this much of heat we have to supply during the process when we are taking out 887.684 kg of dry steam from the boiler.
Question number 12. A 280 mm diameter cylinder fitted with a frictionless leak-proof piston contains 0.02 kg of steam at a pressure of 0.6 megapascal and the temperature of 200 degrees centigrade. As the piston moves slowly outward through a distance of 305 mm, the steam undergoes a fully resisted expansion during which the steam pressure P and the steam volume V are related by PV to the power N equals to constant, where N is a constant. The final pressure of the steam is 0.12 megapascal. Determine A, the value of N, B, the work done by the steam, and C, the magnitude and sign of heat transfer. In question number 12, it is given that a 280 mm diameter cylinder is there and is fitted with the frictionless leak-proof piston and containing the mass of 0.02 kg of steam at a pressure of 0.6 megapascal and a temperature of 200 degrees centigrade. The piston is moving slowly outward through a distance of 305 mm and the steam is undergoing a full resistance expansion during which the steam pressure P and the steam volume V are related with the equation PV to the power N equals to constant, and where N is the constant and C is the constant. The final pressure of the steam is given as 1.2 megapascal and we have to find out the value of N and the work done during the expansion, and finally the magnitude and sign of heat transfer. The heat transfer. during the process. This we have to find out. So if we'll see how the process is going on, then the process is going on like this. Initially you are having certain pressure, that is 0.6 megapascal, and temperature 200 degrees centigrade. It is expanding up to a point 2 where the pressure is given as 0.12, and this expansion is followed by a relation PV to the power n equals to constant. Okay, so first we'll go into an steam table number 2, and from there we'll see the 0.6 megapascal, that is 6 bar pressure. So we are finding that the corresponding saturation temperature is 158.87 degrees Celsius. That means the given steam is superheated steam. So to find out the data of this steam, the properties of this steam, we'll go to the table number 3, the superheated steam table, and from there we will write down the data for the point 1, that is 6 bar and 200 degrees centigrade. So at point 1 the volume of the steam is given as 0.3520 meter cube per kg. The enthalpy is given as 2850.1 kilojoules per kg, and the entropy is given as 6.967 kilojoules per kg Kelvin. Okay, so this data is given in the steam table number 3, the superheated steam table. So first we will find out the total volume at point 1, that is the initial state, that will be equals to, say, V1, it will be equals to M into V1, specific volume at point 1, that is Vg, this one. So we will substitute the value. M is equals to 0.02 kg multiplied by specific volume 0.3520. So this comes out to be equals to 0.00704 meter cube. So this is the volume at point 1. Now the piston is moving by 308 mm, so the change in volume will be equals to pi by 4 d square multiplied by the length by which the piston is moving. So we will substitute the values. Pi by 4 into d is given as 0.280 meter, so a meter square, multiplied by length is given as 305 mm, that is 0.305 meter. So this is the change in volume, or V2 minus V1. Okay, so dV will calculate, the value of this is coming out to be equals to 0.0188 meter cube.
Now we will find the total volume V2 after expansion. So the V2 will be equals to V1 plus change in volume during this expansion process. We will substitute the value of V1 equals to 0.00704 and dV is equals to 0.0188 meter cube. So it comes out to be equals to 0.02584 meter cube. So we got the volume after the expansion. Now to find out the value of n, we will write down the equation P1 V1 to the power n equals to P2 V2 to the power n. From this equation we can calculate the value of n equals to log of P1 upon P2 divided by log of V2 upon V1. Substituting the value, P1 equals to 6 bar and P2 equals to 1.2 bar, V2 equals to this one and V1 equals to this one. So value of n we are getting as 1.24. So we got the value of V2. Now to find out the value of work done, we can use the formula work done equals to P dV when the volume is changing from V1 to V2. So this comes out to be equals to P1 V1 minus P2 V2 upon n minus 1. Substituting the value of P1 V1 and P2 V2 and n, we get the work done equals to 4680 Newton meter. Remember, P we have to write in Newton per meter square, that is Pascal. Okay, so we will get this much work done, that is equals to 4.680 joules, kilojoules. Okay, so we got the work done. Now we will try to find out the specific volume at point 2. This will be equals to V2 upon m, because V2 is volume per unit mass. This is the total volume of this mass, so the V2 will be equals to capital V2 upon m. Substituting the value 0.02584 divided by 0.02, the specific volume we are getting as 1.292 meter cube per kg. Okay, now this volume, if we will see the steam table at 1.4, at 1.2 bar, then we are finding that the volume from the steam table number 2, at 1.2 bar, Vf is equals to 0.00104 and Vg is equals to 1.42496. That means the steam after the expansion at point 2 is wet, because it is not purely water because the volume is more than this, and it is not pure steam because the volume is less than this. So it will be containing some water and some steam. So we will try to find out the dryness fraction at point 2. So the volume V2 from the steam table, if we will calculate, it will be equals to Vf2 plus x2 into Vfg2. Okay, so we will substitute the values as Vf2 plus x2, and Vfg2 we can write as Vg minus Vf, that is all at point 2. So substituting the values of Vf and Vg2 from this, and V2 equals to 1.292, we will get x2 equals to 0.9059. So that is the dryness fraction at point 2. Now to find out the heat transfer, the third one, the n we found, work done also we got. Now to find out the heat transfer, we will use the first law of thermodynamics as Q12 will be equals to U2 minus U1 plus W12. Okay, from the first law of thermodynamics. So and U2 and U1 we can find out by the relation. We know that H is equals to U plus PV, so U will be equals to H minus PV. So first we will find out the U1. U1 is the superheated steam. So here we have directly the volume, the pressure and the enthalpy from this. This one is the volume, this is the enthalpy, and the pressure also we know as 6.6 megapascal. So we will substitute the values and we will get the value of U1. U1 will be equals to 2850.1 minus P, that is 0.6 into 10 to the power 6 Pascal multiplied by the volume. Volume we have taken down as 0.350. So the value of U1 comes out to be 2638.9 kilojoules. Now to find out the value of U2, here it is wet steam. So first we will find out UF2 and then we will find out the UG2, internal energy of the liquid at point 2, the internal energy of the dry steam at point 2, and then we will find out the internal energy of the mixture. So first we will find out UF2, that will be equals to HF2 minus P2 into VF2. So VF2 we had already noted down from the steam table, okay, that is at 1.2 bar, that is 0.2, but we don't know the value of HF2. So we will go into the steam table again. For pressure 1.2 bar, we will find out the value of HF2 and Hg also. Okay, so HF2 from the steam table is equals to 439.4 kilojoules, and Hg2 from the steam table is equals to 2683.4. This all we are getting from the table number 2 at 1.2 bar. So substituting the value of HF2 as 439.4, P2 equals to 0.12 megapascal. Let us write down here HF2 439.4 minus P2 we are writing as 0.12 into 10 to the power 6 multiplied by volume of the liquid, that is 0.00104, and dividing it by 10 to the power 3. Here also we are dividing it by 10 to the power 3 because it is in joules and this is in kilojoules. So we are dividing it by 10 to the power 3, so it becomes kilojoule. So when we will solve, the value of UF2 is coming out to be 439.275. You see, for the water, HF2 is equals to 439.4 and internal energy is equals to 439.274. They are more or less equal. Okay, so in the further questions we will assume that the HF2 is equals to UF2 because the difference is very small. Then we will find out the value of UG2. UG2 will be equals to, from this equation, Hg2 minus P2 Vg2. Substituting the value, Hg2 we had written down from the steam table 2683.4 minus P2 we had know that 0.12 into 10 to the power 6 multiplied by Vg2 we had noted down as 1.42496, and dividing it by 10 to the power 3 because this is in kilo and this comes out in joules only, so we are dividing it, so it becomes kilojoules. The value of this when we calculate is coming out to be 2512.28 kilojoules. Okay, so that way we got the value of UF2 and UG2. So we can calculate the value of U2. U2 is basically a mixture, so U2 will be equals to UF2 plus X2 into UG2 minus UG1, that is UFG2, the difference of this change in internal energy during the evaporation of 1 kg. So substituting the values of UF2 from this X2 we have already calculated 0.9059, UG2 we had calculated as 2512.28, and sorry, this is UF2. So UF2 we had calculated as 439.275. So when you will solve this, this comes out to be 2317.210 kilojoules per kg. So the heat transfer heat transfer will be equals to, this is capital U2 and capital U1, but here we are calculating the specific change internal energy, so we have to multiply it by the mass. So 0.02 into U2, that is 2317.210 minus U1, that is 2638.9 plus W we have taken out for the total mass. So in this case the mass multiplication is not needed, it is 4.68. all the things are in kilojoules. So when you will solve this, the value is coming out to be minus 1.753 kilojoules. So according to the question, the heat transfer is 1.753 kilojoules and this heat is rejected from the cylinder, okay, because the value is coming out to be minus. But when we had written down this equation, we said the Q is the heat supplied, but here the Q is coming out to be minus, so this Q is rejected from the cylinder.